Correct.
But after a couple of years, it starts hitting you. It
Correct.
starts hitting you in all the levels, emotionally, mentally, physically, socially. So at that moment, I thought that this is not working out for me. And at that very day, I decided that I want to look at other options.
So, hi everyone, welcome back to MAD. Today we have Pragya with us. I think this interview is going to be very interesting. So far, the subscribers know that we have been interviewing the guys who have cleared the exams like UPSC, IES, or maybe GATE. But it is also critical to understand from someone who was very much interested or looking forward to clearing UPSC. But then what are the takeaways and what are the hurdles that come in between these kind of exams? Because I believe UPSC is like one of the critical exams when it comes to the study part, plus the mental, plus the support that you need throughout the exam, right? So Pragya, thanks for joining us. It would be really interesting to know about your journey through that. And before that, it would be really nice if you can give a brief background about yourself.
Thank you for having me, Gaurav. I'm also really looking forward to this conversation with you. Um, to give a brief background, I am presently working as a social impact consultant at Satwa Consulting. I recently joined as an analyst in the non-profit advisory team of the firm. Before this, I prepared for UPSC for more than for about 2.5 years. And I had done a bachelor's in mass communication from the university before that.
Great. Thanks, Pragya. So obviously keeping it very, very candid. Why the thought of UPSC came to your mind? The first question.
For me, I'd always wanted to work towards social impact, and that led to pursuing mass communication in my bachelor's because I wanted to create impact in the field of journalism. I thought that was a good way to go about.
Mm-hmm,
I interned for the Hindu during my graduation in line with that, and I absolutely loved the work there.
mm-hmm,
But during my internship, I realized that maybe this is not something I can do lifelong or in the
mm-hmm,
long term.
mm-hmm,
And I want to be more involved in impact, where my work is more linked towards social impact,
mm-hmm,
and that too in a role which is enabler in its nature.
mm-hmm,
So that is why I decided to go for UPSC. But UPSC is something I took up only after my graduation. During those 3 years of my graduation, I explored anything and everything I could
mm-hmm,
in within my college, within my course. I was active within different societies of the college
mm-hmm,
and in the student body as well. So I made sure that I am living all the experiences of the college first, so that I know what to do and what not to do at the end, and what works for me and what does not
mm-hmm,
by the end of my graduation.
mm-hmm,
Once I knew that this is not something I want to carry on in the longer run, then I decided that, and UPSC itself presented a better alternative for
mm-hmm,
me when it came to, working towards social impact.
mm-hmm,
So I decided to go down that lane. I prepared for UPSC for more than 2 years.
mm-hmm.
I sat for two attempts, second of the attempt being in October 2021, so not even a year since then.
Correct.
Um, so, yeah,
Sure.
I wanted to work towards social impact. That is why UPSC made sense for me.
Sure. Yeah. So interesting. So for you, it was not from the very childhood days, I want to be an IAS or IPS officer. It was like when you got a reason of working towards the society and that kind of
Hmm.
gradually developed and that you thought of going for UPSC, right? So like you
For
mentioned, yeah,
me,
please.
for me, it was from early on. I knew that I want to work towards social impact, but I had no idea how to do that.
Okay.
Earlier, the conception was, or what you're told is that if you want to work towards social impact, it's either a charity role or it's either a philanthropic role that you can take up.
Mm-hmm,
So those were the early, ideas. But I did not want to work in that way, in a charitable way itself.
mm-hmm.
But then I was not aware how to get into social impact. Thus, it took time to identify
Right.
where to go. But yes, I wanted to UPSC because I wanted to work towards social impact and not all the charm that comes with becoming an officer.
Correct. Yeah. Interesting. I think you mentioned, right, you prepare for 2 years. So would like to understand then what was your exact strategy of from the preparation side, right? Because we have seen people preparing for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So
Hmm.
passing through that journey, what is also your suggestion and what was your thought process of kind of quitting after 2 years?
So I never thought that I'd quit. Honestly, when I started my preparation, there was no time limit set in my mind that
Mhm,
these are the number of attempts I want to take or not. But as my second attempt was approaching, at that moment I was clear that I want to sit for a couple more attempts. If
mhm.
my after this exam, I want to sit for couple more exams if this is not clear,
Correct.
because I'm not giving up on this journey anytime soon. That was
Okay.
my thought process.
Mhm,
And when I started preparing for UPSC, I was told that it's better to not look at a plan B. It's better to not focus on anything else and direct all your focus on UPSC itself.
mhm,
That is what I did.
mhm,
I after my college, I took drop years and I prepared. First, I took classes for
mhm,
almost a year,
mhm,
and after that, I sat for exams. I did not clear my first exam, the first preliminary exam,
mhm.
and I did not. Uh, it obviously affected me, but I did not take that as a big deal because most of the people don't clear in their first
Correct.
exam.
Correct.
But by my second attempt, I was sure that even if I'm not able to qualify mains, I will be able to reach that stage. I will be
Mhm.
able to clear the preliminary
Prelims.
stage because I've already been uh, preparing for 2 years by then.
Correct.
But the day I took that exam, on my way back home, I cross-checked my scores from the answer key that other institutes gave out,
Mhm,
and I could see that the margin is huge,
mhm,
and that really hit me. And
mhm,
I understood, and I realized that maybe I'm putting myself through a journey that I'm not capable to complete.
mhm.
And somewhere I was pushing myself that maybe no, I will become more disciplined. I've been a good student. I will be able to do it.
Correct.
Why am I not being able to do it? I've been doing everything that I'm supposed to do, and I've been putting in all of my effort. Then why am I not clearing this exam? I will be able to do that.
Correct.
But once I saw those marks, and I realized that maybe I've been lying to me about
Mhm.
my own capability. I have not been able to face my own shortcomings, and I
Correct.
convinced myself that with the longer I prepare, the better it will be.
Correct.
And eventually I'll get a hold of it. Maybe eventually I'll be able to crack that. But at that very moment, I decided that this is not somewhere I want to continue. This is not something I want to continue doing. And I'm not doing justice to myself by putting
Correct.
myself through something that I'm not able to, you know, after a point of time you stop enjoying that also. You stop
Correct.
enjoying those long hours of self study and
Correct.
that isolation. In the beginning it's very good. In the beginning
Correct.
you're getting to know a lot of things, you get to learn, and that's very fascinating.
Correct.
And isolation also does not bother you,
Correct.
but after a couple of years it starts hitting you. It
Correct.
starts hitting you in all the levels, emotionally, mentally, physically, socially. So at that moment I thought that this is not working out for me, and at that Friday I decided that I want to look at other options. Impact consulting as an option had already come to my mind during my preparation. I got to know about that as a field. It's also a very niche field, so I was not sure.
Mhm,
I did not know that there's something called social impact consulting,
mhm,
but I got to know about it while I was preparing through a friend,
mhm,
and I thought that this is maybe something I can explore if UPSC does not work out.
mhm,
I did not explore, I did not look at the options before my exams because I did not want to distract myself.
mhm,
But post my exams, I knew that if I should have a plan B in mind, so
mhm.
that was my plan B. I started exploring as soon as I decided this is not somewhere I want to continue.
Correct.
And thankfully, I was able to get into the field.
Correct. So I think interesting point you mentioned, right? Self-realization of your own capabilities at a good amount of time, like at the right time. So I think there is a good trade-off. People, I'm not sure, like I have not prepared for UPSC, लेकिन क्या ऐसा होता है कि एक बार 2 साल स्पेंड कर दिया आपने, सो पीपल स्टार्टिंग कि यार 2 साल तो दे दिए, थोड़ा सा और दे देते हैं, या फिर वो एक जिद आ जाती है कि नहीं यार ये करना है. सो दैट ईगो और जिद या एटीट्यूड या फिर अपने आप को खुद से ही झूठ बोलना. So have you
Hmm.
seen these kind of scenarios, and like is it very easy to quit at that stage then?
It is not. It is not at all easy. It is not easy to quit UPSC at any stage.
Mhm.
You will see there are a lot of aspirants who quit after 6 years,
Correct.
6 attempts. The
Correct.
maximum number of attempts a general category student can take.
Correct.
And that is because they're not able to quit before that.
Correct.
After every attempt, they feel that one more year,
Correct.
one more attempt. maybe this time I'll be able to clear. And they've
Correct.
already invested so much of their efforts and years into this preparation. It's
Correct.
not easy to say no to something or walk away from something that you've already given so much time and efforts to.
Correct.
And most of the students who prepare for UPSC have given up on everything else. They're not studying anymore. They are not working anymore.
Correct.
So all of their time and effort, all of everything goes towards this.
Correct.
So, and UPSC is like a dream. It's
Correct.
like a romantic dream that you have, that you
Correct.
live every day, that
Correct.
once I get into the services, I'll have everything. I'll
Correct.
I'll have I'll be able to do this. I'll be able to, work on this particular issue that I've been so passionate about, or I'll have that kind of power to actually make some real change.
Correct.
Any other place might not give you that kind of a leeway that being in the government as an officer would.
Correct.
So that attraction is always there, and it's very difficult to say no to. But
Correct.
I think it's very important to understand and realize when to quit, as well as to when, apart from when to start.
Correct.
It's and I think if you want to quit, if you have to quit, quit when you have some confidence left,
Correct. Yeah, I
so
think it
that
takes a
you have,
toll on your
yeah, so
confidence.
that you, it does, so that you have the strength and the confidence to explore something else, to say
Mhm.
that, all right, my plan A did not work. Now I have to look at my plan B. But do you have the strength to do that? Because a lot of people don't.
Correct.
I also was completely crushed, even though I knew that, okay, impact consulting is something I can look at. But
Mhm.
that was itself so scary because I already had 2 years, more than 2 years of drop year by then.
Correct.
And by the time I was able to, secure a job, my gap year was almost 3 years.
Correct.
So that's a very scary thought. You don't know what to do because after your graduation, you've given years to one exam in complete isolation. So you don't know what's happening out there in the world,
Correct.
or what are the other options that are shaping up, or how do
Correct.
you have to shape yourself up to get into those fields. So it's
Correct.
very scary. So I'd suggest that quit when you still have some strength left and some confidence left to be able to explore and to say that no, I'll make it.
Correct. Correct. Just want to understand how important the role of social pressure from friends, because now you are preparing for 2 years. Is it just your personal belief, or you also get the pressure कि यार मैंने सबको बोल दिया कि I'm preparing for UPSC, अब मैं quit नहीं कर सकता? So is that
Hmm.
pressure also kind of not allowing you to quit? Does that also
It has
happen?
been a year. It has been a year since I quit UPSC, and
Correct.
people still ask me, why did you stop preparing?
Correct.
They're both relatives and friends, but
Uh,
I've been very lucky in the respect that none of the close ones,
mhm.
neither my close friends, neither my immediate family, has ever asked me that. In
Mhm.
fact, they were the ones asking me that this preparation is taking a toll on you. You're not
Correct.
able to move forward with respect to other things also. You're
Correct.
learning here,
Correct.
but think about it. If you're able to, if you want to quit, then quit.
Correct.
That was a support system I had.
Correct.
So I was able to enter the journey when I wanted to enter, and I was able to quit the journey when I wanted to end. And I think I was in a privileged state that I had that kind of people around me who, who prioritize my own mental health and my own journey over the fact that will I become an IS officer or any other officer
Correct.
in the list or not.
Correct.
But that is true. A lot of people, specifically other aspirants, ask you that
Mhm.
why not
Correct.
more? Why not a couple more attempts?
Correct.
And I think it's also because they sometimes maybe, assess their own judgments through it.
Correct.
That, okay, my peer has stopped preparing.
Mhm.
Should I also have stopped preparing? Why am I continuing? Maybe
Correct.
those can also be the reasons why they question you, or why they ask you that why have you stopped preparing?
Correct.
And, it's, for me, it's easy to say that, okay, know when to quit.
Mhm.
And it's a good thing that I quit and realize that's something that you cannot do.
Correct.
Realize that your own capability, and maybe there's something you cannot do. Maybe you can do well in some other place, so go explore that.
Correct.
But there's a flip side to it, right? There are people who stick to it, and they're able to clear this in their fourth or fifth
Fourth.
attempt.
Yeah.
So there's always a flip side to it. There are always people who are able to clear later.
Correct.
But uh, the thing is, those numbers are very small,
Correct.
and it's not. It's small because the kind of postings we have are very strong. Are
Correct.
very the number of postings we have are very small.
Correct.
So it's a very personal. I think it's a very personal decision,
Mm-hmm.
and you should be able to drive this decision. You should be able to prioritize that what makes sense for me,
Correct.
what is the right priority for me, what do I want to focus on at this moment, or what matters to me more.
Correct.
uh, for me, I think I was pushing myself to do something that maybe I was not, really cut out for,
Correct.
and I took some time to realize that. But for some people, they might be able to take that up with the right kind of direction, with the right kind of a strategy.
Correct.
So it's quitting after 2 years is not the solution for everybody, but
Correct.
it might be a solution for some people who are not quitting.
Correct.
So it's a very personal decision. Nobody else can take that decision for you. So
Correct.
there could be some social pressure, around it, some familial or peer pressure. But I would suggest that listen to them, listen to their arguments, but then decide for yourself that unki arguments mein, which argument makes sense to you,
Correct.
which argument applies to you, and then take a decision based on that,
Correct. So you
not
are
not
your
based
own
on other
best
people.
judge, because at the end you are the one who are studying, you are the one who are preparing, so you know, अपने आप को पता चलता है कि यार ये मेरी कैपेबिलिटी है, ये मेरे से हो जाएगा, कॉन्फिडेंस कुछ टाइम के बाद आ जाता है या फिर पता चल
Mm.
जाता है, राइट?
And not only capability, apart from that, do you want to continue
हाँ, डू
doing
यू
that?
वांट टू कंटिन्यू? करेक्ट, या
Are you enjoying that now? Have you
करेक्ट.
stopped? I had stopped enjoying my
करेक्ट.
preparation.
हम्म.
Initially, I absolutely loved that journey in the initial days. I used to take classes also. I used to come home starstruck. I used to come home thinking that, oh, I learned this today. I used to be
करेक्ट.
very happy with that.
करेक्ट.
But then after some time, I stopped enjoying that journey.
हम्म.
So maybe it's not only about capability. Obviously, I think if you have the right kind of mindset, if you have a growth mindset, you can maybe carve a way for yourself. But are you doing something that you're enjoying, that you're deriving pleasure from, or
हम्म.
are you learning from, are you seeing yourself grow in new ways every day? Those are also very important questions to answer.
Correct. So the sole reason or the main reason of you preparing for UPSC, because I mean, to be very frank, I'm not sure if the power, the authority that you get after clearing UPSC, is that the motivation that people are preparing, or is it really the social impact that is they want to bring the society, right? So again, it's a personal thing that comes to the picture, but that reason has to definitely be there, otherwise I believe 5 6 years you cannot sustain that kind of pressure, right? Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, everybody has a different reason. For
Correct.
me, the reason was social impact, and I knew that social impact is something that I can work towards through different from through another path also.
Correct.
So that is why also it made sense for me to leave that path, because there are other things that I can always take up to drive social impact.
Understood. So now when the second attempt result came and you were shattered and you were kind of taken aback, so a confidence built up karna dobara se, so how did you kind of get everything back and start looking for the life beyond UPSC then?
I don't have a list, a method that that one after the thing that you
Correct.
should follow. But after UPSC, I don't think that I've had a worse phase in my life.
Mhm.
After quitting, I had no idea what to do, how to do. I knew I wanted to get into social impact, and social impact consulting was something that was attracting me at that moment. But I had no idea how to enter that field.
Mhm.
I had no idea if I'll be able to get a job, or if I'll be able to secure admission at a target college,
Mhm.
because of those drop years, because of all the lack that there was on my CV and my
Correct.
profile.
Correct.
But along with that, I think the thing that I lacked the most was confidence at that
Mhm.
moment. because if you have faith in yourself, you will be able to eventually get somewhere. There's
Correct.
never a paucity of, opportunities, specifically in a world of hyper specialization, where so many fields are there, where there's so many venues that you can explore.
Correct.
But I was at rock bottom. I had no idea what I'm going to do with my life. I had no idea if I will be able to ever be independent.
Mhm.
Very existential questions. I had very existential questions and thoughts for months, for a couple of months, sorry, for a couple of months at end, and it was a very dark phase.
Mhm.
But then I think the only way through which you can gain your confidence is by doing things that essentially you don't feel confident towards.
Correct.
And that's the loop. that's
Mhm.
that's the sad part, that you will have to push yourself even if you don't have that motivation or the strength or that confidence to take something up. There's nothing else you can do than try.
Correct.
At that moment, I had a lot of conversations with people in the impact space to understand more about the space, to identify where I want to go and how I want to enter.
Mhm.
But uh, even though you have a good support system, even though you have your friends and family by your side, they won't be able to fight your battle for you.
Correct.
It is you at the end who has to push yourself, who has to believe in yourself that no, I will be able to do this.
Mhm.
I have to do this.
Mhm.
Until unless you push yourself, कोई फायदा नहीं है किसी भी push का किसी भी उसका. At the end it's you,
Correct.
and you just have to put yourself out there. You just What I did was I started applying for jobs.
Mhm.
It took time. I'm still in the process of building that lost confidence. It's not easy. It's not a switch that you click. अच्छा offer आ गया तो I'm at the right place now.
Correct.
It
Correct.
takes time. It takes time. It Because confidence is something that is extremely internal,
Correct.
and there's no set definition or there's no set path. But now that you have mentioned it, I have also written a small post on LinkedIn on it, where I talk about a few things that you can do to build your confidence. It talks about that, how you have to push yourself, how it's a loop, that
Mhm.
even if you don't feel confident towards doing that you don't feel confident that you'll be able to do something. If
Mhm.
you don't do that, you won't be able to gain that confidence. So it's a
Correct.
cycle. So
Correct.
you'll have to start with smaller things, start pushing yourself. Create that support system around you, reach out to people to understand the space that you want to enter. And if you've entered that space, reach out to your mentors. um, at my company at Satwa, there are a few people that I continuously reach out to for support.
Mhm.
I'm either working directly with them or I'm not working directly with them, but there's my seniors in the system.
Mhm.
So I reach out to them for that guidance, that what I can do next, how can I learn, how can I grow,
Correct.
and just find those people for yourself. Just find those mentors for yourself. I have been lucky that I was able to find a supportive environment within my company also.
Great. Thanks, Pragya, for giving that detailed insight. I think it is also very good to understand the journey from the failure side, not always from the exam clearing side, right? So it was really nice to kind of interact with you. I think already my next question would have been कि क्या suggestions होंगे आपके aspirants के लिए, but you kind of covered everything, because obviously it depends from individual to individual. Quitting might not be right for some, but again, do you want to give a concluding remark for the people who are preparing?
While starting your preparation in UPSC, I think there are a couple of things that one should look at. And the first of them is if you will enjoy the process or not.
Mhm.
A lot of times we only look at the what will happen if we qualify the exam.
Correct.
Look at the glory of becoming an officer. Look at Labasna's videos and see
Correct.
that, okay, what will happen during that 1 year training,
Correct.
and the possibility of the things that you will be able to take up as an officer. That is something that a lot of people have in mind, and I think that's something that everybody has in mind when
Yeah.
they're starting to prepare.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I would suggest that you also look at is at the journey itself.
Mhm.
The journey of clearing this exam is massive.
Mhm.
It's long, it's tough, it's hectic, It's isolating, so you will have to be with yourself and your books for long hours.
Mhm.
If that is is that something that you enjoy? Is that something that you will derive pleasure from? Not only that, if you're capable, if you think that self-study is your strong point, if you have that kind of discipline to live a certain routine day in and day out,
Mhm.
with UPSC, it's very important while preparing that you create a zone around yourself, that mental zone
Correct.
where you're not interfered with your preparation, so that you're able to continue that with that level of concentration on a longer period of time. So,
Correct.
is that something that you will enjoy in the longer run? You might not have all the answers in the beginning till you have lived that experience,
Correct.
but you still might have some sense of your own interests and capabilities, so please keep that also in mind.
Mhm.
Also, in the beginning, a lot of people will tell you to not have a plan B or to not work towards anything else while preparing for UPSC, because justifiably UPSC itself is so hard that it's not easy to concentrate on something else. But I would suggest that before entering UPSC, know what your plan B could possibly be,
Mhm.
you know. And I had taken drop years right after my college, and I had almost 2 years of drop years till the time I was 3 years of drop years till the time I was able to secure a job.
Mhm.
And the only regret I have is that I was not able to grow in that time with respect to the corporate world
Mhm.
or the world of where I am now. People my age are so have grown in that period
Correct.
within their jobs. So there's no dichotomy. There's no that growth and learning UPSC may have might not be there in somewhere else,
Correct.
or the kind of learning is unpaddled. It is a very different kind of learning, but you will learn wherever you are.
Correct.
So don't just look at that as a criteria, and be certain of what your plan B can be. And
Correct.
if possible, have a couple of years of work ex before you enter the preparation, so that you are well aware of you know, what your uh, that you're capable of handling yourself, of
Mhm.
earning, of working,
Correct.
even if UPSC does not work, because in most likelihood that will be the case.
Correct.
Not because you're not capable, just because the number of positions are so less
Correct.
that most of the people, a majority of the people, won't be able to clear these exams even after the years they put in.
Correct.
And while entering the preparation, a lot of people have the conception that they look at only their age, that I want to become an officer as soon as possible to be able to secure, UPSC in the government sector. The number of years you've put in a job also defines the promotions that you get
Correct.
to a large extent. So there, a lot of people consider that the early you enter the preparation, the senior you'll be able to, the more senior,
Correct.
uh,
The
you'll
secretary
be able
level,
to
union
do.
secretary level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, chief secretary. And also that if you clear at the age of 21, you'll be able to target for something like chief secretary. So
Correct.
that is also you want to do things as soon as possible. But
Correct.
because of that, maybe you've not reached a place, you've not been able to uh, learn enough, that you have that level of discipline, you have that level of assurance or that confidence. Maybe work towards that also before entering the space,
Correct.
and just know yourself and your capabilities and your interests better.
Correct. Okay. I think this was the last question, but because I have you and I have the chance to kind of interact with you, I just want to know very frankly, कि we don't see any other exam कि लोग 6 years 5 years की preparation कर रहे हैं, right? So to me, that thing कि मेरे को social impact करना था, वो आप बहुत तरीके से कर सकते हो, राइट? ऑब्वियसली दिस ऑफिसर लेवल गाइज हैव अ हायर लेवल ऑफ अथॉरिटी, सो शायद इम्पैक्ट बहुत ज्यादा होगा, लेकिन देयर आर डिफरेंट वेज, राइट? सो स्टिल, एंड यू माइट बी हैविंग दोज पीयर्स हु आर प्रिपेयरिंग. सो जनरली 5-6 years तक प्रिपरेशन करना, इज इट लाइक कि अभी आईएएस और ये जो ऑफिसर्स लेवल के जॉब्स हैं, दीज आर लाइक हाइप्ड इन आवर सोसाइटी कि आपका बेटा आईएएस है, इज इन ऑब्वियसली government to hai hi, but he's an officer. So is that kind of mindset still there? And do you think that is also
Definitely.
prevailing, right? Because
Definitely. Most of the people who
you
have
don't prepare
asked me
for
why
IT
did
JEE for 6 years, GATE for 6 years, or maybe any other exam
yeah,
for 6 years, right? So
definitely. Most of the people who have asked me why have I left it have come from the point of view of that
mhm,
okay, I thought you'll become an officer,
correct,
but they it was for anybody who's outside, they won't talk about your own motivations and your own pushes and pulls,
correct,
but they'll talk about the perspective. And in our country, sadly, that power, that authority, that
correct,
has a very different level of attraction. That has a very
correct,
and it's hilarious also. It's
correct,
sarcastic that at one place we complain that there's corruption, and at the other side we think that oh, kuch koi afsar ban jaye, so we'll be
correct,
able to enter that system through that back door.
correct,
So that mentality is there,
correct,
and I have also met aspirants who are functioning on those mentalities.
correct,
So sadly, that is the case.
correct,
There is, and the level, I think that will be there in any lucrative place.
correct,
UPSC and becoming an IS officer or any other officer in the government is attractive.
correct,
But then, and a lot of people enter this because of their family. A
yeah,
lot of people enter because the entire family situation is such that they're pushing them towards it, that we want our child to become an officer. So they push them towards it and then they become
correct,
then they enter this journey. And some people, I think that they are able to qualify this with this mindset also, but
correct,
this is not something that I would want to push for.
correct,
Not even if we don't look at the reasons that okay, we need officers who genuinely care about the development
correct,
of the nation and the society. Also because will you be happy by
yeah,
this if you enter a place only for the power that it might give you?
correct,
It is an extremely tough job.
correct,
You'll be working all the time. You'll be posted at maybe another state, and within that, there'll be a high possibility of transfer.
correct,
You will be leading lives of, to a large extent of isolation because your work will be different from everybody else.
correct,
You
yeah,
won't have as many level of interaction with your level of officers also because they will be handling similar kind of work in different areas.
correct,
Do you want that lifestyle for you? Do you want that power and authority so much that you want to push yourself into that that
correct,
that tough lifestyle? That is also maybe something you can consider or think about.
correct, yeah. Thanks, Pragya, for sharing these honest feedbacks. It is always interesting to know and learn. So I think that's all what I wanted to kind of ask you, and it was really nice interacting with you. Uh, I think the viewers also might get some good feedback if they are into this journey of preparation for UPSC. And is it okay if from the channel someone would like to kind of get in touch with you maybe via LinkedIn, uh,
Yeah, sure,
so
definitely.
we can
I'll
kind of,
share my
yeah, we can
I'll
place
share my
your
link.
LinkedIn profile link in the comment section in the description. So please feel free to reach out to Pragya for any help. So thanks for watching, and do share with someone if you like. This might be helpful for other people. That's all from my side. Thanks very much for watching.